we get into our episode, we have to give you another Godzilla fact. Today's Godzilla fact is Godzilla fact number 12. The actor who originally portrayed Godzilla was Haruo Nakajima. He passed away in August 7th, 2017. But I know he was the actor for a lot of the Godzilla movies.
That's barely an interesting fact. That's just the name of the person and when they died.
That's a good one.
Okay.
And I'll post a picture of him.
Okay.
That's been your weekly Godzilla fact.
Oh, God.
Hey there, fortune tellers, wolves, gypsies, and antique dealers.
Welcome to another episode of What Happens in the Crypt.
Today, we're talking about the 1941 American horror film, The Wolfman.
This was written by Kurt... Sidemak? Okay.
Sidemak.
This was written by Kurt Sidemak and produced and directed by George Wagner.
The film stars Lon Chaney Jr. in the title role.
There's not really any trigger warnings for this movie. I think it's rated G. Right?
Or something like that. I think it is PG.
PG. Yeah, there's not really anything I think has to be noted.
Brief synopsis of the movie. Larry Talbot returns to his father's castle in Wales and meets a beautiful woman. One fateful night, Talbot escorts her to a local carnival where they meet a mysterious gypsy fortune teller.
I like that synopsis says meets a beautiful woman and not stalks a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
It's a little misleading.
Yeah. Looking through the telescope.
Yeah, it's really creepy.
It is very strange. I don't know, the 40s were weird.
Originally, this movie was given the working title Destiny, which had been the preliminary title of a number of Universal films that decade, but it ended up being changed, obviously, to The Wolfman.
We're trying our best with his name. By the way, the writer, Sidemak. It's Siodmak.
I like that now we just spell it so people know what we're looking at.
Yeah, they should. Kurt Sidemak says that The Wolfman is based on his own life experiences. He himself was a Jewish man of Polish descent, but he was actually born in Germany in 1902. He was always a very talented writer, even in the German film industry, but when Hitler came to power, he was actually forced out of Germany in 1937. Still alive in 1999, he gave an interview in which he said, "I am the Wolfman. I was forced into a fate I didn't want. The parallels are noticeable." As movie historian Konstantin Nasser once observed, Sidemak saw this picture as the story of an outsider whose destiny was cursed by forces he could not control.
Yeah, the werewolf story is always kind of sad in that exact reason.
Yeah, because they don't get to... It's not a choice.
Yeah, vampires always, want to be vampires. Yeah. You know? Werewolves never want it.
No. Because before... Lawrence comes to Wales because his brother dies. He doesn't even want to be there.
Right.
And then it's just forced upon him on accident.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bella's a jerk.
He couldn't control it.
Yeah, but also if you're a werewolf, you should be like, oh, full moon.
Right.
Maybe I should,
they're traveling by wagon, they don't know what the moon is like.
Yeah. Someone put a little blame on him.
Mm-hmm.
The way you walked was thorny, through no fault of your own. But as the rain enters the soil, the river enters the sea. So tears ran to a predestined end. Your suffering is over. Now you will find peace for eternity.
While writing The Wolfman, Kurt Sidemak also kind of created the werewolf that we know today. Silver bullets, the mark on the hand.
Yeah, it really surprised me that the poem was his.
The poem, all of that was created by him, and that's we all know werewolves.
Even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright.
So you know that one too, huh?
He created all of the tropes.
Yeah, because like even when we were looking stuff up about this movie, like I thought that was just the legends. A lot of the stuff that actually just came from this movie, from this dude writing it. That it's just so ingrained in everyone that we just think that it is like ancient texts about werewolves and myths, and it's not. It's just the script he wrote for the movie. This is actually Universal's second werewolf movie. The first one, Werewolf in London, tanked at the box office, so it was pretty much forgotten. But definitely it's basically like the light version of the Wolfman as far as makeup goes. We haven't seen this one, or at least I haven't.
I have not seen it.
Yeah, but it basically was the stepping stones into the actual Wolfman, kind of like a precursor.
Yeah, and the original design was almost like the Wolfman, but I can't remember the name of the actor. He was like a high-profile actor.
Right.
And he demanded that at least half of the makeup be removed from his face.
So you could recognize
him. So you could recognize him, and so he would still look handsome and not like a monster. The wolf that Larry Talbot fights is actually Lon Chaney Jr.'s own German Shepherd. So he wasn't attacking him. He was just like, I love you.
Yeah. When we watched this too, and they were like, it's a wolf, I was like, that's a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
That's not a wolf.
It doesn't look anything like a wolf. He's a cute dog. What a good boy.
Did look like he was biting him. I wonder if he was like bite trained or something.
Probably.
That was way more common back then, you know, for dogs to actually be attack dogs.
But it is a cute little thing. Because then also, you know, Lon Chaney Jr. is comfortable with the dog.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
The Wolfman battled a bear in one scene, which seems so weird. But unfortunately, the bear ran away during filming. And so the only scenes that were filmed were put into the trailer and are not actually in the movie.
Yeah, apparently broke free on set and was just running around.
Good for him. I hope he lived his best bear life.
But apparently the scene was supposed to show his transformation.
It was like a circus bear, though, right? It was like something like that.
Yeah. So it was like, for some reason, the gypsies bring a bear, and you could like bet against
that was the thing,
bear
though.
winning a fight against a person, and then Lon Chaney Jr. somehow gets roped into fighting it.
Oh, okay.
And then, yeah, you can't actually watch this anywhere. They never released it, and the film is lost. But I read what apparently the scene was, and it's like in the middle of the fight, he's like losing, but then he gets like wolf strength without transforming.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And then beats the bear.
Yeah.
I want to see that. We'll try to post a picture of it. I could only see one frame.
Right.
And it was horrible quality, but we'll try to post it.
Yeah.
Check us out on Twitter and Instagram.
I do think that was really common back then with like traveling circus type shit, that they would have animals like that. But I really hope the bear had a good life. Universal originally wanted Boris Karloff to be the lead, but then Bela Lugosi also actively campaigned for the lead role and didn't get it. So it was a lot of like their heaviest hitters were a part of this. But I think Boris Karloff turned it down, right?
Yeah, he was doing something different at the time. And Lon Chaney Jr. was relatively new at the time, but everybody knew his dad, so. And also, like, they wanted the role to clearly be, like, an American. So, that's very sad about Bela Lugosi, though. He got so typecast because he had a heavy accent. But they were...
But, like, what I told you, what I thought the reason for Bela Lugosi being in it was to draw audiences, because he's only in it for the first 5 minutes and he's Dracula, and so of course people would want to see that.
It definitely, because they could be like Bela, you know, you imagine the still Bela Lugosi, bam,
he dies right away. It's like 3 lines.
One last thing about Bela Lugosi is you'll notice his werewolf is much different than Larry's werewolf. And in earlier versions of the script, you weren't supposed to know if he was actually a werewolf or not.
How?
Because it wasn't supposed to show him in the earlier versions as a werewolf. It was only supposed to be like, he goes to bed and then he wakes up and people have died. Or he wakes up, like, outside with a dead body. And you weren't supposed to know. But also, that's why they change it. Like, okay, well, Bella's a 4-legged werewolf. He's a 2-legged werewolf.
Gotcha.
So, why wouldn't they have the same rules? So it was a kind of a, to make you think. But originally they said it was supposed to be like a psychological horror movie. But
I get that.
When they like ran the script to like test audiences, when they were telling them of the idea, people got confused.
I think
so
it was like
no.
too early for that. You know what I mean? In just movie times. Like that's really like ahead of its time, but like you didn't see enough movies for that to be like readable or understandable, like being able to understand that easily.
Yeah, because this movie is also at the same time trying to tell you the myth of the werewolf. Because that's peppered in a lot. Yeah. Because, we were watching that documentary, and they were talking about how, without Kurt Seideman's writing, people didn't really know that much about werewolves. Right. Unlike Dracula, Frankenstein, everybody knew that stuff. But the werewolf doesn't have,
Didn't have a backstory.
It didn't have a backstory. Like, there's no, who wrote Frankenstein? Mary Shelley?
Mary Shelley.
There's no Mary Shelley book for a werewolf. It's just kind of literally hundreds of different countries had different shape-changing myths. And he was like, oh, well, that's a good idea. Also, what if we added this? Because, like, beforehand, there was no, like, Mark of the Beast. Yeah. He came up with it all. Which I'm like, did they put that effect in there or in post? I don't know.
Of the star?
The star. It's either they had something like a mini bat signal. Yeah. And then they just had their hand there and they just put it on. Or it's literally somebody just drew it on.
I think that's the case, because that's what it looks like to me.
I think they drew it on the film.
It is such a silly little design, too, like the Mark of the Beast. It's just a star. It's not even technically a pentagram, right? It's just a star.
I don't know the textbook definition. I'm not an expert on the occult. In one scene, Larry Talbot and his father Sir John attend church on Sunday, but the doorway and steps of the village church look more like that of a cathedral. In fact, it was, and it was part of the legendary movie The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's the same church.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Which starred Lon Chaney's father. Lon Chaney, I guess you would say Lon Chaney Sr. But yeah, they did that stuff all the time back in the day because they built that for real. Right. So it was just standing there for 20 years. And they're like, well, we need a shot of a church. Bam, we have a church.
There it is.
Yeah. There it is.
The only surviving prop from the movie is that famous silver wolf head cane that Larry gets while he's stalking the girl that he's been watching with the telescope. But yeah, that's the only surviving prop. And a film archivist? Film archivist Bob Burns was the one that previously had the cane. He's a kid at a time, and the prop maker Ellis Berman gave it to him.
Of course, this movie had a famous feud, because so many do. But Evelyn Ankers and Lon Chaney Jr. did not get along. And it apparently started when, out of nowhere, she was given Lon Chaney's dressing room. Which apparently they were doing as a punishment because he vandalized studio property while drunk.
That's so weird. They were like, you don't get your dressing room anymore. Yeah. Then how'd she end up in there? I don't understand.
I don't know. People
it's very weird.
Petty and weird. But apparently, he gave her the nickname of Shankers in relation to, a handmade knife. Like a prison knife. And apparently played practical jokes on her. And his favorite thing to do was sneak up on her when he was in full makeup. Yikes.
That's one of those weird, I don't think it's an actual saying, but I think it's a horrible, I don't know, I'm trying to find the words for this. I don't think it's an actual saying, but any man that sneaks up on a woman to be funny is a piece of garbage. I hate that so much.
It's fun to scare you every so often.
Well, you can do it because I know you, but strangers do that to people and it's fucking weird.
Oh,
It happened to me not that long ago, where someone snuck up on me while I was wearing headphones that I didn't know. I did not
punched
like
them.
it. Yeah, I was really upset. Anyways, just a small tangent.
During the filming of the final confrontation, the final fight, there's a scene where Evelyn is required to faint, and she kind of like falls to the ground, and there's all that fog. Well, apparently, her cue to get up was when they said cut, because she was doing it relatively close to the end of the take. But apparently, she did not hear them say cut, and because of the fog, they couldn't see her.
Weird.
But we're talking about 1940s fog. Mm-hmm. So she stayed down there for so long, it caused her to pass out.
Yikes.
And she was on the verge of suffocating, but somebody tripped on her
That is fucked.
and found her just lying there in the fog.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah, imagine if your star died because of fog.
Yeah, I wonder what the fog was made out of, because it's really thick.
Gosh,
It's really thick. It's definitely poison.
it was. It made her pass out and almost killed her. That's back in the 30s, 40s. It could have just been it probably was just rat poison or something. It was insane back then.
Mm-hmm. They're like, it looks the smokiest. They'll be fine.
They'll be okay.
There's so many actors from this time that have cancers and different shit from the stuff that they would put on them.
Oh yeah, there's famously that girl from James Bond who almost died because
The paint.
the gold paint.
Even one of the things we watched about the makeup, where they talked about the Boris Karloff Frankenstein, and that he literally has scars from where the bolts were because it burned his skin, the chemicals. Ugh.
Jack P. Pierce was the man behind the Wolfman makeup.
Yeah, I love this makeup too. It actually holds up really well. It's still appropriate as far as that definitely is a werewolf.
Yeah, apparently he used yak hair that he would burn with a curling iron to get. He apparently laid every hair by hand.
That sounds insane.
Yeah.
I love the feet in this though.
I know I love that scene where he takes his shoes off and he's like, "Oh, jeez."
I'm just getting hairier. But
Thumbs up.
the classic, when he's just walking through the woods and I don't know if he's actually on his toes or if what he's wearing is forcing his feet to kind of create the dog foot look. Just love the feet.
Mm-hmm. And then he was actually wearing a prosthetic nose.
Right.
I think that was the only prosthetic that they had him wear.
Yeah, that was something else that I thought was really interesting was Pierce was really high up as far as well-known makeup people went at this time when this was all starting, but he secretly had that nose prosthetic made out of latex because it was a material he wasn't familiar with.
Yeah,
so he quietly asked someone
Yeah.
else to make it so that no one would know he didn't know how or didn't know how to access that stuff, which I thought was interesting.
And Jack P. Pierce was behind all of the Universal monsters except the creature. Mm-hmm. And this was so back in the 40s, they were just starting to have makeup artists. Before that, actors had to do their own makeup because that was the tradition in theater. Him and Bela Lugosi would get into arguments on the set of Dracula because Bela didn't want
Him to do his makeup.
at all, and he refused to wear fangs.
Yeah. I feel like I would have liked Bela Lugosi a lot.
Apparently, the iconic makeup would take upwards of 2.5 hours.
Even that doesn't seem like that long for how much was done. Comparatively, of course, it's different, but we just did Pan's Labyrinth. Those makeups took 5 hours. Mm-hmm. It's 2.5 doesn't seem as bad.
Quote from Pierce: I put all of the hair on I put all of the hair on a little row at a time. This involved quite a long time commitment, as Chaney's werewolf ensemble consisted of a mask, a furry chest plate. I guess I never noticed he wore a chest plate.
Because he's wearing a button-up shirt.
Imagine that extra time to put on that chest plate and you never really see it.
I don't think you do really see it. They could have just stuffed some hair in the shirt. That would have been fine.
And then, he wore 2 clawed gloves. Apparently, though, according to Chaney, the worst part was removing the material. Chaney is quoted as saying, "What gets me is after I work, when I'm all hot and itchy and tired, I still gotta sit in that chair for 45 minutes while Pierce just about kills me, ripping off all the stuff he put on me in the morning."
Yeah, that sounds horrible. However, I did read stuff that it sounds like Lon Chaney Jr. was a bit of an exaggerator about this. Did you read the thing about how he said they put little hooks in him so he wouldn't move?
No.
Hold on, I put it in here somewhere. He said that they put fishing nails into the skin on the sides of his hands so they would remain motionless during that time-lapse scene.
Did they actually?
There's no one confirms nor denies. I think he's just an exaggerator.
Yeah, I don't think that would.
I'm sure that it was grueling to get the makeup off, but I was like, nobody put fish hooks in your hands.
No.
You weirdo.
But apparently he did consider sleeping in it. That's what Boris Karloff would sometimes do for the Frankenstein makeup. But he said he was worried his eyelids might get stuck together.
It's a valid fear. One of the other interesting things about the Wolfman makeup, which I actually didn't realize until I read into it, was that he only wears bottom dentures. So, like, he only has bottom fang teeth. But that's all he really needs because of the way he holds his face and his expression. And it's more dog-like, I think.
Yeah, I guess I don't even know if it's more dog-like because I can't picture it with two sets in. But it definitely makes it unique.
Yeah.
Like, it makes a unique shape to his
because
face.
he only howls as the Wolfman. Like, he doesn't speak.
No, he doesn't speak.
So he just juts that, like, bottom,
Yeah, he just
out.
shoves his lower jaw out. And it looks good. It looks cool. It would have been way different to have, like, both.
Lon Chaney is also the only actor to ever play the same character in all of the films. So, like, in Frankenstein sequels, they're not all Boris Karloff, but the Wolfman was always Lon Chaney Jr.
Yeah, because, like, the Mummy movies, they change it, and Dracula gets changed. But he is always the Wolfman. There are a few shots in this movie where you actually see him, like, transition. And apparently those took 10 to 12 hours.
Yeah. It makes sense, though. That's like frame by frame.
Exactly. It is frame by frame. And because there's, 1940, there's no other way to do it.
Right. Because the main one is when he dies, is when the big transformation happens, where he returns. He goes from the werewolf to... But I think they filmed that backwards, right? He actually was putting the makeup on him.
I think so.
Because it was ripping his skin off and shit to take it off.
Yeah.
So I think he literally started as himself and then he built the werewolf makeup on. That's where he was talking about the fish hooks. That dramatic Lon Chaney Jr. Lon Chaney Jr. is never referred to in the movie as the Wolfman, which I think is funny because you don't notice it. And we previously did an episode about The Howling, and Joe Dante named every character in that movie after different werewolf things. So one of the characters in The Howling is named after George Wagner. Tom Stevenson, who plays the grave digger in this film, comes back to play a grave robber in the sequel. Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Whoever that guy was, I don't think
Now
he's...
talk about a typecast.
Yeah, grave digger, grave robber, Tom Stevenson. I thought that was really funny.
No, that is really funny.
They're like, you did such a good job digging that grave.
You did such a good job dying in that grave.
You come back and rob it.
Now come rob it. Now, I was not able to find much about this, but apparently in May of 2020, it was announced that Ryan Gosling has been cast as the Wolfman for an upcoming reboot.
I don't think I like that.
I think Ryan Gosling is very hit or miss. But apparently it is still in the works as of July 2020, but they haven't been due to, everything being
Right.
slowed. I don't know. Because in movies like Drive, he's real good.
I just think he's too, like, A-list for me to like him to be...
I would not say he's A-list.
Really? What would you say?
B.
I know what he looks like. I know who he's
Human breadstick.
I know who he's married to. Like Eva Longoria.
Who is that?
She's also an A-list actress.
Who is she?
Eva Longoria. I'll show you a picture. I can't think of anything she's been in.
We're going to go to her IMDb now. This is... Oh, yeah, because I've watched Desperate Housewives
I think that's why I know
or
her.
Flipped.
Oh, my God. I have watched a bit of Desperate Housewives.
Oh, yeah, Dora and the Lost City of Gold.
Okay, maybe she's not A-list. I guess I just know who she is. Let me see this.
Just looking at this list of shit I've never heard of. A-list. But I guess he's also in like La La Land and Blade Runner.
I've never seen La La Land or Drive.
You've never seen Drive?
No.
Drive is great.
I know him from like Lars and the Real Girl.
I love that movie.
Yeah. But like that
Drive is
like,
great.
indie.
We're going to watch Drive then. Yeah, he's in mostly indie stuff.
Never seen Blade Runner.
Oh, it's the new one is garbage.
Oh, I also do love The Place Beyond the Pines.
Yeah. But none of these movies are like big A-list blockbusters.
I guess I don't know how to qualify actors.
Like Robert Downey Jr.
I'm just going to Google it.
He's A-list.
Well, because he's in a fucking stupid superhero movie.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Ryan Gosling A-list.
I'm not spending any more time on this. I'm done with this Ryan Gosling talk.
It says he is.
What?
According to Hollywood Insider.
What is Hollywood Insider? Did they make the list?
It says it says with an acting career that spans almost 3 decades and over 45 acting credits to his name, Ryan Gosling is one of many A-list stars that is lucky enough to have longevity in Hollywood.
Good for him. Anyways, I think it might be okay.
All right.
I'm gonna watch it. If they make like a Drive / Place Beyond the Pines, give me that Ryan Gosling. But instead of robbing banks, his life problem is he's a werewolf. Mm-hmm. I'll probably like it.
We'll see. If it even happens.
If it happens. But yeah, La La Land is that garbage singing movie.
Yeah, that's
we'll
why
never watch
I've never
that.
seen it. How have you seen that?
I have not seen it.
Oh, I thought you had.
I will never watch a musical.
Oh my God.
Never.
Rocky Horror.
Okay, that's different.
Evil Dead.
It's not a musical.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
there is
Evil Dead the musical.
Yeah, there is a musical.
Yeah, that's fine. I can spray
we really
with
got
blood.
on a tangent here. All right.
We're going back. Oh, and for that, Lee Winnell was entered negotiations to direct it, and Jason Blum as an additional producer. So that's some big names. Mm-hmm. That will be cool.
Yeah, but Lee Winnell also has followed like the shitty Annabelle tropes, and he's a part of a lot of those, like Annabelle, Conjuring. So like that is like a thumbs down in my opinion.
We'll see.
You get what I'm saying.
I know.
Ryan Gosling, A-list breadstick. Lee Winnell churning out garbage with what's his face, James Wan.
What about him?
Oh, I have to say the whole thing. I was just saying, Lee Winnell and James Wan made all the Annabelle movies and that whole universe. That's what I was saying. Lee Winnell not as much, but he's also a part of it. That's all.
Oh, okay. Now with this episode, yeah, we decided to not do like here's the history of Lon Chaney Jr. Mm-hmm. We think that kind of deserves its own episode because that would be a huge like.
He's had a really interesting life,
yeah.
but it's just it wouldn't fit into like Wolfman alone.
No, yeah, it needs to be its own thing because you can't talk about him without talking about his dad and what he did and how he said Lon Chaney Jr. could never be an actor. Mm-hmm. And then he was, of course, if you tell a teen you can't, mm-hmm. They will.
They will try.
They will do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we'll do an episode just on them eventually, and I'm sure we'll also do a Lon Chaney Sr. movie eventually. For this movie, there's no like crazy deaths. There's a few, but they're all either like the Wolfman grabbing their neck and just shaking them and screaming, or a cane over the head.
Yeah. 2 types. For our next episode, we're
doing the thing we said.
A Stephen King movie.
Yeah, we mentioned that because what was it? This dog won't stop licking, and I'm sorry, the dog licking is going to be in the episode now. She's in the middle. But anyways, yeah, because we actually talked about it. We were like, wait, have we never, what was that, an episode or two ago?
Uh-huh.
We were like, how have we never
Right.
done Stephen King?
So we're going to do Pet Sematary.
Hooray.
The original.
1989?
Uh-huh.
1989.
Not the new one.
Not the new one.
Yeah.
We'll briefly talk about it. But that movie definitely could not have its own episode.
No.
The original one is way better.
I read the book when I was like in junior high too.
Yeah, and it was funny when we were talking about this movie, we're like, were there any cool makeups? And we were like, oh yeah, the dead people, and like when he gets his ankle slashed.
Uh-huh.
And then we were like, wait a minute, the sister.
Yeah.
The
Zelda.
sister, oh my
Nightmares.
gosh.
Nightmares.
Nightmares. I actually had nightmares about her when I was a kid.
I did too. Okay. Since this is a Wolfman episode, should we get her to howl?
All right.
Then? Wait,
Come here.
no, stay. Now she's like, I don't want to be in here.
Yeah, all right.
All right, Poom, you ready to end this for us?
Poom is our dog. She's our beautiful pit bull. We'll post a picture of her.
Ready? You guys speak?
Speak.
Ow!
Ow! Ow!
A little more.
Come on.
Okay.
Do you like her
sad.
majestic howl? Or is it just kind of sad?
Is it majestic or sad?
I don't know. She's cute, though.
No, she's like, let me out of here.
Let me get away. All right. Hope you're excited for Pet Sematary. We're excited to finally do Stephen King.